Panther Nation podcast. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Oh, cut right. And I would like to introduce one of the hottest podcasts in Carolina history. Let's go. Yeah. Talk, let's chat. We got time to chop it up. Talking analytics and fantasy draft. You know what's up. Panther Nation representing, cause this is where we talk that. Talk that's so incredible. Make them rewind that talk back. Pause. Talking Panthers football, we discussing it all. On and off the field, you know exactly who to call. You know we the #1 podcast. Competition is non-existent, you need to stop that. Pause. It's an honor to be a Panther fan, pause. At Bank of America, that is where we ball. Coming to the jungle, then you gonna feel the pause. Winning the trophy for the city, it is the cause. Black, white, and blue, we going Carolina strong. And this is the conversation where everyone belongs. Discussing all the numbers and topics, you know we got it. We the hottest podcast and we poppin', let's go.
QueenCityPodcastNetwork.com.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Come on, come on. What's popping with y'all? It is Rashad Beard, one half of the Panther Nation podcast. What's good with y'all, man? So real quick, this is the Morning Huddle. If you don't already know, this is where we chop up the latest news, notes, and nuggets from the Carolina Panthers. And yeah, man, we got some news last night that we got to talk about. So, man, let's grab yourself some coffee, man. Just pour me some up. Just pour it up some good. You know what I mean? Grab you some. It's still a little too hot. So I'm gonna chill on that. I don't want to be doing all that. You know what I mean? On the camera. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna chill. I'm not gonna sip that. I'm gonna let that cool down for another 5 minutes. But with that said, grab yourself some coffee, some a croissant. You know what I mean? Or something like that. You know what I mean? And let's chop it up. What's good, everybody? It's your boy. All right, so we're here. So the biggest news we got yesterday was that Mike Vrabel is now interviewing with the Carolina Panthers. He interviewed with the Atlanta Falcons, I believe, yesterday evening, and will now interview with the Carolina Panthers today at some point. I don't know when that's happening, but it's going to happen at some point today. Very interesting because Mike Vrabel has been out there for a little minute. He's been out there for a little while. Okay. He's been out there for a little while. Okay. And now all of the sudden, and see my brain, it goes a little, you know what I mean? Sometimes I'm a little cuckoo. You know what I mean? I look between the lines, I connect dots. And so Vrabel has been out there available to interview for a while. And why now all of the sudden, he is now on our list to be interviewed for the first interview, not the second. We're on our second round for a lot of guys. Ejiro Evero, Raheem Morris, Canales, all those guys have gotten their second interview. And now Vrabel comes in on his first interview. And why is that? Ladies and gentlemen? Well, I'm of the thought process that because Dan Morgan recently got the position of head of football operations / GM, that this is a Dan Morgan move. This to me signals that Dan Morgan is the guy making that decision. Vrabel does not seem like a Tepper guy. Vrabel is a guy that wants, again, he's going to bring in the culture. Everybody keeps bringing this buzzword culture. Nobody knows what it really means. They just like to say it, but nobody really can tell you what the definition of culture is. It's a buzzword. You know what I mean? But he's a tough coach. He's a demanding coach. And he's a defensive guy, right? So we have now 3 defensive guys to 1 offensive guy. And all we've heard since Dave Tepper's gotten here and he got rid of Rivera, now he got rid of Rule, I want an offensive guy. And I've been on that train too. I'm guilty as charged. You know what I mean? So I'm with Tepper on that. We actually align on that. And we don't align on too many things, but we do align on the offensive guy. But there's only one offensive guy, and that guy's Dave Canales. A lot of y'all don't like him. Some Panthers fans are, hey, he's the best guy for Bryce. I see both sides of it. You know what I mean? But yeah, Vrabel, another defensive guy, tough, coming from the Patriots. You know, he got 3 Super Bowl rings, and you know he's coached with the Texans before, turned around the Tennessee Titans, and albeit very, very, very similar fashion. Okay, very similar fashion. Okay, listen, he's got a very similar situation with the Carolina Panthers that he faces. If he decides to, or if Dan Morgan and everybody decides to go in and get this gentleman, hire Mike Vrabel as the head coach, he's got a very similar situation with the Carolina Panthers that he had with the Tennessee Titans. We got some turning around to do, and you've got some decisions to make at quarterback. I feel like you know, they had drafted Malik Willis, then turned around and drafted daggone Will Levis. And so they're trying to get the quarterback situation figured out. And so yeah, I mean, it's a very similar situation. Very similar situation that he will come into with the Carolinas. Now, again, it's interesting. It's interesting. Like, defensive, tough, demanding guy. You heard what you heard what Derrick Henry had to say about him. A lot of coaches, a lot of players like, yeah, TZ, I like him. Some are like, nah, I'm not feeling that. But a lot of players, they don't want to be coached hard. You know what I mean? It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. That whole Patriot way and doing what you got to do, and this is not for everybody, man. Like, I get it. It's not for everybody. But I guess he's going to bring in that culture that you all are speaking of. Everybody talks about that word culture. But I think the larger point, the point of this video, it's not about Vrabel. I don't want to get lost in the Vrabel isolation. I don't want to get lost in that, because we can debate whether he's the right guy or not. We can have that conversation in a later time. What, to me, again, in the title of this video is that, in the thumbnail and everything, is that this signals a major change from the top down. Okay, 3 defensive guys when the whole notion has been offensive mind. Vrabel does not seem like a Tepper guy. And so, to me, all this, even if he's not hired, the fact that we're even interviewing him is a positive. Because one can say, all right, we didn't interview Bill Belichick, we didn't interview Harbaugh, we didn't interview all these guys. Well, Harbaugh just got hired, right? Maybe we were going to get around to it. Maybe Dan Morgan was picking up the phone trying to make it work. But now it just seems like Dan Morgan is going to have the power to do what he needs to do and make the decisions as the head of football operations. Again, words matter. Words matter. Titles do matter. Titles do matter. Okay. So I think that now that Dan Morgan is head of football operations, I think he's getting a little bit of power. This is my thought. I have no sources that are saying that. This is just me connecting the dots. 2 + 2 = 4 here. Shout out to Stephen V with that super chat, man. Said Dan is getting his guy. Dan is making calls alone. I don't know if it's alone. I think, you still got Sportsology in the building, still helping out. I'm still hopeful that they are in the process and helping making decisions. So I don't know. We're not in the office. We don't know what's going on, but we can only speculate and we can only connect dots. And in my brain, I think that Dan Morgan is starting to pull strings. I think Dan Morgan is starting to pull strings. And I'm hopeful. I see everybody talking about Ben Johnson. And, again, I think that's the biggest shoe that we're waiting to drop. We've been waiting on that, Ben Johnson. And we won't have that situation. He won't be able to interview until after if they win and they beat San Francisco 49ers, we won't be able to interview them until the bye week. There's a bye week before the Super Bowl. That's when we will be able to interview Ben Johnson. So he's not doing interviews until that point. So you got guys like the Washington Commanders are waiting. The Carolina Panthers are waiting. I think we want to get Ben Johnson. I firmly believe that. I just think it sucks that Mike Disner removed his name from the hat, because I thought that would have been the ultimate pairing of Disner and Johnson. But we couldn't get him. So it is what it is there. So Stephen V says, I don't care who it is. I want 8+, and I'm assuming that's I want 8 wins plus consistently. I agree. The game guy says that ping pong table will be gone if higher. Yeah, the dreaded ping pong table. Yeah, that ping pong table got to go. I think we've been trashed since we've gotten the ping pong table. So yeah, the ping pong table has got to go. My guy says, yeah, that's what I'm saying. The bye week is next week, which is what I'm saying. After this week, if they can beat the San Francisco 49ers, we'll be able to interview that week. So this next week, all the dominoes will start to fall. All the dominoes will start to fall. Do I think we'll get Vrabel today? I think we'll interview him, but I don't think any announcement will be made today. There's no announcement that will be made today. There's no announcement that will be made today. I think we're going to interview him. We're going to kick the tires on him. And that's what needs to happen. I think we should have interviewed more guys. I think we should have interviewed Jim Harbaugh. I think we should have interviewed Bill Belichick. Hell, I think we should have interviewed everybody. Get y'all coffee, man. Shout out to Starbucks. Is a little K cup, Starbucks K cup. Cinnamon Dolce is my favorite. Shout out to Cinnamon Dolce K cups, Starbucks. It's not an ad, by the way, but Starbucks cut the check, man. Cut the check. But yeah, anyway, so I think next week is when the dominoes will start to fall. Again, I'm hopeful on Ben Johnson. That's still my guy. So I guess this is what y'all want to know, right? Well, here's the question: would I prefer Vrabel? I think we should get a young guy, but what do I know? Look. So here's if you want my opinion. Do I think Vrabel is a good coach? I do. I think Vrabel is a good coach, but do I think he's the perfect coach for the Carolina situation? Probably not. And do I think there's another positive to it? And again, I can list the pros and the cons. Some of the pros is, we talk about a power run game. I think he's going to bring that power run game here to Carolina. I think he can attract a guy like a Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry spoke very highly of Vrabel. He spoke very highly of him in an interview that he just recently did. And he was surprised that he even got the can. So I think that if you bring in a Vrabel, you can bring in a guy like Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is not, I think Derrick Henry is a very good running back. Sometimes I say stuff and y'all take my words and y'all run with it. But Derrick Henry, he's gonna fall in a rotation now. Like he's dominant, yes, in spurts. I think if you can get him in a solid rotation, I think that's when you get the best out. And I've said that about all running backs. I was like that I was consistent with Christian McCaffrey when he was here. Let's get him in a rotation. I think all running backs should be in a rotation. If you get Derrick Henry in a rotation, I think he can be a valuable asset. He's not an every down guy. You can switch it up with him and Chuba. I think that's a great tandem. So yeah, I think you can attract a guy like a Derrick Henry if you bring in a Vrabel. So I think that's a positive. There's some other free agents that he could attract. Vrabel is a good coach, but do I think he's right for the Carolina situation? I don't think so. I've been very consistent with this. I think at the end of the day, the situation boils down to who is going to get listen, in the interview, they're going to ask, hey, man, what you going to do with Bryce? What you going to do with Bryce? Right? You like Bryce, right? You scouted him. I know you was picking between Levis and all those guys, man. You like Bryce. I'm sure you like Bryce, right? I mean, what you think? What was your notes? Let me see your notebook when you were scouting Bryce Young. Because if you can't work with Bryce Young, you can't be our coach. So it all boils down to getting the best out of Bryce Young. So the coach, and listen, you would be lying to yourself if you were saying, all right, we know defense wins championships. That's great. Defense definitely is a part of it. You got to have a good defense. Look at all the teams in the daggone race right now in the playoffs. They all have really, really good defenses. Period. So you got to have a good defense. And I believe Ejiro Evero he can still be here in Carolina. I don't think he's going to get it out, and I could be wrong on this, but with the jobs available, I know he got a second interview with Atlanta, but I don't know that he's going to get a job this go round. So if we can retain an Evero, I think he can build us a good defense. But at the end of the day, what you're also going to find out in these here playoffs is that it's going to come down to quarterback play. We can all those defenses are great. All those defenses are great, but you got to have a guy. You got to have a guy. Lamar Jackson, even Jared Goff is playing very, very good football right now. He ain't elite. He not playing at MVP level, but he also is putting the squad on his back. He's putting it together. Jared Goff is a good quarterback. You know what I mean? Mahomes, him. It comes down to quarterback play, and you got to get the best out of your quarterback. Yeah, you know I mean, and everybody keeps throwing around culture. Yes, culture. Yeah, we love culture, and that comes with some hard-nosed coaching. Yes, but you don't need to hire a defensive guy to get culture. I think we need to define what culture is. People just say culture is a buzzword. People don't know what culture is. But I think I'm confident, man. I'm confident in. I feel good about I feel good about Dan Morgan. I feel good about where things are going. We just got to. It's going to hinge upon this coaching hire. What is this coaching hire is going to signal a lot of things. When we make that announcement, when that announcement is made and we go live, that coaching hire is going to signal a lot of things. Because guess what? If it's an offensive guy, maybe Tepper's still puppet mastering. Maybe Tepper's still pulling the strings a little bit. Yeah, I mean, maybe, obviously, I've said this on multiple occasions. That Tepper, Bryce Young, that's his baby. That's his prized possession. That's his claim to fame. Right? That's Tepper, that's his guy. You know what I mean? So I think whatever it takes to get Bryce Young solidified, I think that's what David Tepper's goal is, right? But at the same time, if we go with the Vrabel, or if we go with the Raheem Morris, things are changing around here, bro. Things are changing in Carolina if we go with the Vrabel or a Raheem Morris, or hell, even a Ejiro Evero. Things are changing. Even though Ejiro is from the prior regime, it signals a shift at the top. It signals a shift. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting. I think next week is when it gets done. I think next week, by the time we do, it might not happen on next week's show, but I think by next week, this thing will be a done deal, and we'll be going live talking about who our next head coach is. I firmly believe that. I firmly believe that. All right. If we were to hire Vrabel, I bet he has plenty of connects to find the right OC hire for Bryce. That's important. That's important. Who is going to be the offensive coordinator for any guy, even Raheem? even Raheem Morris, who is going to be the offensive coordinator? I can tell you it's not going to be Thomas Brown. They've worked together, right? They've been on the same staff together, but it ain't going to be Thomas Brown. It's going to be somebody I think Raheem Morris could put together. He's got the connects to pull from that McVay tree, which comes from the Shanahan tree. I bet Raheem Morris could put together a good offensive staff for Bryce Young. Vrabel, he might have the connects. I got to go back into his tree. Let me see. I got to go back into his tree to see what he can connect and who he's worked with in the past. I have not done that research. I got to be honest. It just happened yesterday, so I got to go into research to check his tree to see what it's like. Okay, okay. He was under LaFleur at some point. Schwartz, Arthur Smith. Could he pull in Arthur Smith? Listen, Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith, they could fire from the Falcons. You know what I mean? So, I'm not saying I'm not condoning Arthur Smith by any means. I'm not condoning that. I'm not condoning that. I'm just connecting the dots. Just connecting the dots. Appreciate that super chat, Paris. Just connecting dots. That's all. That's all. That's all. Okay. So it's going to be very interesting. Very interesting. As an OC. And again, everybody can't be a head coach. My fault. My apologies. Shout out to Tim. Everybody can't be a head coach. Everybody can't be a head coach. Okay. Adam says, and I appreciate that super chat. I appreciate, is that some euros? Or is that, what is that? Euros? My man said, AFC South record, Vrabel 54-45, Reich 40-30. No thanks. No thanks. I mean, yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough. Again, this is the situation we're in. This is the situation we're in. Everybody, like my man, shout out to my man Carlo. Everybody can't be a head coach, and maybe Arthur Smith can't be a head coach. Maybe he's a good offensive coordinator. Maybe Canales can't be a good head coach. We don't know if he can manage the game, calling the plays and managing the entire game. We don't know that. We don't know. We don't know. So Slowick has not gotten a second interview. So y'all gotta let that shit. Yeah, that ship appears to have sailed. That ship appears to have sailed. Shout out to Adam, man. The Euros, man. I appreciate that. I hope to be spending some Euros going over there in Germany next year, watching the Carolina Panthers. Once the details drop, I'll let y'all know if I'm heading out there. I'm going out there for sure. Shout out to all the folks in Europe that get to watch the morning huddles and watch me live. I appreciate y'all support, and I hope to see that same support when we head over to Germany, because we got to get something set up. It's gonna be dope. I appreciate y'all. Yeah, you know I mean, so again, man, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I'm patiently waiting. People are asking me to release my top three. I don't know if Vrabel is in my top three. I don't know, man. I think to me right now, the 1-2 punch right now is going to be Canales and Morris. I still, even with Vrabel coming in, my 1-2, and I'm still torn, bro. I'm still torn between Canales and Raheem. I think Raheem can bring a good offensive guy here, and I think he also can keep an Ejiro Evero here. I think Raheem is probably, I think he might be the best out of the bunch. And again, I'm pounding the table for an offensive guy. I want an offensive guy here, but I firmly believe if Raheem was here, he can bring an offensive guy to Carolina that can sustain. Now, keeping said offensive guy once he sees success is going to be difficult, which is why. But you can't. All it takes is 1 year. You can't play scared, right? And so that's where again, I'm not perfect, right? So I understand the the kind of the I guess the poking the hole in my thought process of bringing an offensive guy here. I understand that. You know what I mean? So I get it. I get it. And my man says Canales has interest from nowhere else. I mean, yeah, that doesn't mean anything to me. That doesn't mean anything to me. Like, just you could be ahead of the game. You could be the one that saw it first. You know what I mean? You could be the guy that saw it first. And I don't know, did Mike McDaniel get a lot of interviews? I don't think he got a ton of interviews either. I don't think he got a ton of interviews either. You know what I mean? So it just, all you gotta do is hit the lot. It's like a lottery. It's like it's a crapshoot at the end of the day. It's a crapshoot. You never know until you know. You know what I mean? So we just all we can do is hope. So I'm not again, and I've been on record stating that I forgot what I was gonna say, man. I had a alert come up on my phone, on my computer. I forgot what I was gonna say. My bad. No, I think, but the only team he's interviewed with is the Panthers. Only team he's interviewed with the Panthers. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I've been on record stating that the Carolina Panthers are going to end up potentially hiring a guy that is a 1 or 2 years ahead of where he's supposed to be hired, or where you think he's supposed to be hired. Canales, I believe, fits that mold. Canales would be a hot name in next year's cycle. Believe that. Next year's cycle, if he can repeat what he did with the Bucs, he would be a extremely hot, and you would be a fool to think he wouldn't be. You would be a fool to think Canales wouldn't be a hot name next year. And I've been on record stating that we're probably going to be hiring a guy that's a year ahead of what he's supposed to be hired. And that's okay. That's okay. But as long as you got the right guy, as long as you get the right guy, and that's what matters. That's what matters. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping that we'll see, man. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, I think next week, this thing will be a done deal. Vrabel is getting interviewed today. And the biggest takeaway, before I close this thing out, the biggest takeaway is that the fact that Mike Vrabel is even getting an interview signals a change at the top. I think the mindset is changing at the top, from the top down. And if Vrabel does not get the job, I think we can take it as a W. Small W's, man. We got to take our wins where we can get them. The fact that Vrabel is even getting an interview is pretty big. It's pretty big. It's pretty big. So, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the morning huddle. And I will go live anytime we get some news, I will jump right on and we'll talk about it. So with that said, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you're new here. Hit that subscribe button. Help us get to 22,000 subscribers. We're almost there. And it's taking us forever to get to 22,000 subscribers. 22, excuse me. So hit that subscribe button for your boy. Help us out. And I'll holler at y'all tomorrow, maybe tomorrow. If something goes down, we get an emergency, I'll be out there. Hit the subscribe button. And shout out to Carlo, man. Check us out on the pregame podcast tonight. We're going live at 8:30. Myself, Carlo, and Vashti from the Carolina Blitz. Check us out, man. It's dope, fun show. And I'll holler at y'all tonight, if you want to check that out, and tomorrow, if we have some other news drop. All right, I'm out of here. Peace. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a blessed day. I'm out. Peace. 7:30. My bad. 7:30. My fault. 7:30. My bad. My bad, Carlo. 7:30. I'm a failure.